Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. Give me the scuttlebutt, DJ. What do you got for me?
Well, there's a lot of buzz building, Rich. I think the confidence level with you is it's around the league. There's some skepticism. I'm not going to lie to you, but I think there's a core group of us that think you've got what it takes to get it done.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think it's in you. I think you've got that number in you.
What are they saying? What are they saying? I mean, give me the scouting report. I can take it. This is my I think 13th, 14th time doing this. I can take it. I've heard it all.
Well, look, it hasn't been confirmed. There's some rumors that you're involved in a dog show, and that could be a focus issue.
Oh my God! Is that a Josh Rosen thing? It's a Josh Rosen thing.
Does he want to be fast, or does he have too many interests? That's the question they're asking.
It's like Josh Rosen. It's what you're saying. That everyone's saying Rosen has too many interests. It's more than just about football for Rosen. That's what they're saying about Eisen now.
Yeah, I don't know if Rosen's doing a dog show. I don't know that, but there's a lot of rumors about somebody else doing one.
All right, DJ. I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna use that as fuel for my fire. Fuel for my fire. I'm trying to get Mayock to wear the Jason Kelsey outfit. Yeah, to when he times me.
No chance. Zero.
Okay, going into the combine, what do you think the main story is? Give me that one.
Well, I mean, look, it's sometimes it's artificial, and this time it's authentic. It's the quarterbacks. I mean, I can't remember a year where we had this many that were talented, name brand, name program guys we've known. The average Joe has known about all these guys for a long time, and it's not just the big five. I mean, we talk about the big five with Rosen, Darnold, Mayfield, Allen, Lamar Jackson, but then even guys in that next tier like Mason Rudolph and Luke Falk have been, putting up numbers and been name brand college players for a long time. So there's a lot of guys who are going to get the chance to watch go out there and spin it.
And then on your Move the Sticks podcast with Bucky Brooks, you had Mike Vick on this week talking about Lamar Jackson, and he said that Lamar Jackson reminds him of him from the scouting point of view. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, look, Mike came in 2 years before I started scouting, so obviously I was around Mike a lot, and I was with the Eagles when he came there. And spent time there. I would say Mike was a little bit more natural as a passer, just a little bit cleaner mechanically. But, I mean, arm strength-wise and just raw athletic ability, I definitely think there's some similarities there.
Okay. And in terms of his viability of being a first-round quarterback going in, what do you think, DJ?
I think he's got a good shot. I've been on record as saying I think he's a top 40 pick. I don't think he gets out of the early portion of the second round because second round is usually where you'll see guys say, okay, maybe there's a little bit of risk involved here. He's not a finished product by any stretch, but the talent is just too overwhelming. And you're not going to get blown out of town for missing on a second round pick like you would in a first round pick. I still think there's a legit chance he goes in the bottom of the first round. But I'd be shocked if he didn't go early second.
Well, I mean, it's a copycat league here, and if we just saw Nick Foles win a Super Bowl with RPOs being a central facet of the offense without him having much of a threat of the R of the PO, I mean, why not Lamar Jackson, DJ?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And that's what I've said. Look, if this was the Dan Fouts era, okay, people be dismissive and how's this going to work? But it's not. I mean, look at how the game has changed. Look at how Houston morphed their offense around Deshaun Watson and the success he was having is the example people point to. We had a chance. We're going to have a podcast coming out, I think it's early next month, where we go and kind of focus on just one player and we interview a bunch of people. We talked to Lamar Jackson's high school coach who changed his offense that he had run. He's been coaching for 40 years, changed his offense for Lamar Jackson, was successful. And we talked to the coaches at Louisville who had Petrino had his offense he'd ran forever. He gets Lamar Jackson. He changes it and morphs it around his skill set. So that's what the NFL team's going to have to do. And it's proven to be successful. But you're not going to be able to just call the existing plays you've always had. You're going to have to incorporate it and build around them, which is what any good coach should do at any level.
Now, while we're on the subject of quarterbacks here, obviously the way that the draft shakes out will be affected by the way that free agency shakes out. Which teams do you think are going to take themselves off the draft board at that position based on what's going to happen when the new league year hits in March, DJ?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of these teams double up. Try and double up with the free agent. and then also go ahead and just pick a guy so you don't have to rush him onto the field. I would say the one exception being whoever gets Kirk Cousins. I think that number, and with his age, I think you're committing to him. I've been going with Minnesota as the best fit for him. I think that your Jets are the other team that's mentioned, but I think Minnesota's probably where he ends up. But I think a team like if Cleveland signs A.J. McCarron, does that take them out of taking a quarterback at 1 or 4? I don't think so. If Denver ends up getting Case Keenum, does that keep them from maybe taking a guy like Josh Allen who could sit for a couple years behind a guy like Keenum? I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of guys doubling up, a lot of these teams doubling up.
Interesting. And what did you think of the Blake Bortles signing?
Look, it makes sense from the standpoint of what options are out there. I know that we haven't reached the quote-unquote legal tampering period, but I would think they'd have to have an idea of what the market for Cousins was going to be. That was the one guy that was out there that I would say that was the obvious upgrade for them. But if that number's too high and out of reach and you're already committed to Blake a little bit for this year, I think when you look at the options available to you, this made sense. And I think really about restructuring the number to make it more likely they could keep Allen Robinson. That's what makes a lot of sense there.
Okay, so the poll question is read it to Daniel. Chris Brockman, go for it.
Yeah, DJ, what do you think of the Blake Bortles contract extension? Great, meh, LOL.
I'd probably go meh. Maybe with not as much sass as you pronounced it.
Well, I mean, so let me pound the table in the manner in which I did in hour number 1, which you may have missed because I know you've got sick kids at home and you're getting ready to go to the combine, Daniel. So let me pound the table here for Blake Bortles. Okay, there was one batted down pass away from him making the Super Bowl. That he's a maker of stars, Daniel. He's a maker of stars. Look at the cast that he damn near almost took to the Super Bowl.
Are you saying Blake Bortles is the greatest showman?
He's the Hugh Jackman of NFL quarterbacking. Yes, I'm saying that. Also, he's a tarp remover. It's working. It's working. They're taking the tarp off there. I mean, why would you go away if you can just keep on keeping on with him and see if he is the right guy? You can't sit here and say, and I say this to a talent evaluator, you can't sit here and say he over the next 2 years can't become one of the tops in the league, right?
I don't think he'll be one of the tops in the league, but I think he's in a situation that's probably more desirable than any other situation in the league. When you look at some different factors here. Let's look at the offensive line and running game they have in place, which they've done a really good job of building up. That's a good spot to be in. You look at the most talented defense in the NFL. I don't think anybody would argue with that. And you look at a division that's arguably the worst division in the league. So you've got a lot of factors set up for whoever steps in at quarterback to be successful. Now, to his credit, after some ups and downs, I thought he played his best football when it mattered at the end of the season. But in terms of, whether I'm going to make any long-term predictions based off of those few games, I don't know that I'm ready to do that just yet. Okay,
which is why I love the contract. I mean, they're able to.
Yeah, it's a win. Yeah, they're not on the hook for too much there. It makes sense for both sides, I think.
Okay, Daniel Jeremiah, a couple more minutes left. So now that we're heading to Indianapolis, who else outside the quarterbacks do you think is going to show up, shine out, that we're going to see on the NFL Network over this weekend? Give me some names.
Well, I think we'll just be talking about the overall depth of the running backs, and I think we're going to be having that debate, the fascinating debate between how high do you take a back. I mean, that's going to be a fun discussion because you're going to have people on one side of the argument pointing to Ezekiel Elliott and pointing to Leonard Fournette, pointing to Todd Gurley.
Kamara.
And saying that works, yeah. And then you're going to have the other people come in and say Kamara and Jordan Howard and on and on and on and on. So Kareem Hunt. So we've got people entrenched on both sides of that argument, but there are so many good backs. It's going to be fun to watch all those guys get out there, run around, and show off a little bit. It's a good group.
I know. And Barkley and Quentin Nelson, for so many people, I know it's not a running back guard league, but those are the two guys that I'm hearing are tops, period. When you just want to put guys from 1 to 500, those are the top two. Do you think there's any chance that maybe the Giants or the Colts? I mean, the Colts have got to protect Andrew Luck. I know everybody's pretty much putting Bradley Chubb in a Colts uniform right now. You got any chance on any of that about that here?
Oh, I think it's definitely possible. I go back to Ozzy's philosophy when I was in Baltimore, and he just, so instead of getting carried away with home runs in the first round, let's make sure we don't strike out. Let's get solid doubles. We know the floor of these players as opposed to the ceiling. And a lot of times those guys with high floors end up having high ceilings as well. But you get set back as a franchise. You can look at the Browns when, you say this position, that position. Look, just get a good football player. Get a guy that's going to start for you for the next 8 to 10 years. And you're not going to have to worry about him. You're not going to have to replace him. There's something to be said for that. The good teams, they don't miss. Now, every now and then, hopefully you stumble into a home run, but just avoid the strikeouts. And I think when you look at a guy like Quentin Nelson, I mean, at worst, he's a great double. He might end up being a 10-year All-Pro.
DJ, Daniel, look forward to seeing you in Indy, okay? We'll have a good time.
All right, Rich, I'm rooting for you. Let's go.
You got it. And great job with Mike Vick on that pod.
Oh, thanks, buddy. He was great.
You got it. Yeah. Move the Sticks podcast with Bucky Brooks.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.